evening, everyone. Almost like good afternoon, but you know what? Hey, it is what it is. Good evening, everyone. This is kind of a mini Sass, if you will, and it's kind of just an extenuation of what we talked about on Sunday for the sublimation for beginners. So today I want to dive into two of my loves, and that is definitely sublimation, but embroidery as well. And I want to talk about subbing on fabrics and different fabrics that you can sub on, just to name a few. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the texture of the fabric, and then I'm actually going to stitch something out live, which if you know anything about me, that part just puts me in panic mode. So we have Jody behind the helm. She'll hear this voice. Say hello, Jody.
Hello, Jody.
Jody will be, I don't know what that was, but Jody will be answering all the questions. She'll pop in if I need to slow down for you guys, if you need me to go over something again. So we're going to combine sublimation and embroidery. I teach this at the Everything Embroidery Market. I've taught this at the Applique Getaway. And today's sponsor is, again, driven by Graphics Supply Co. That is run by Marvin. He is our sponsor for this Sass, if you will. I would like to just say hi to everybody in the comment section. I hope you guys are doing okay with your weather right now. It is really, really windy here in the Northeast. We got some snow. You know, we had Jim Cantori who decided to pop in our area. And now we've got this wicked, wicked wind going on. And I pray for all those who have lost power, especially those in the southeast who have been losing power. And those who are getting hit by tornadoes. So I do pray for all of you. So hello to everybody in the comment section. So today we're going to sublimate on the glitter vinyl, the HTV glitter vinyl. And then we're also going to sub on a Minky type fabric or the baby blankets. We're going to sub on the towels. I'm going to talk about those and some craft felt. So let me switch over the cameras, get me all over onto that side of the room, and we can get started. And I hit the right camera today. Look at me go. Look at me go. So like I said, Jody will be behind the helm. She'll be popping in and out, having the conversations with you. And myself, I'm going to bring over the water because we bougie. We bougie. Anyhow, so for those who are going to ask questions in the comment section, this is my Happy Japan embroidery machine. It's a 7-needle. It wasn't until recently that I figured I needed a 7-needle or more than a 7-needle. I'll get on the screen in a second. Give me 1 second. I just want to get the comments so I can. Okay, there we go. I wasn't sure that I was going to need the more than a 7-needle until I was doing patches, and then they wanted 8 billion colors. So yes, for the most part, I just needed a 7-needle machine. I didn't want anything that was too crazy, big, bulky, and this was going to do the job for me. So before y'all ask, that's what this is. Can it do hats? Yes, it can do hats. It does hats beautifully. And I am a hat lover. I have well over 35 hats in my collection, so I do like to wear the hats. My press that you guys see right here is my fancier studio one. You know, that inexpensive one we talked about. This guy has been doing just fine. I didn't need some big fancy heat press in order to get the job done. So we have that. Now we're going to look and see if I can pop me over to this screen real quick. Did it flip over? We're just going to see if it flipped over. I'm not sure if it did or if it didn't, to be honest with you, because there's such a delay.
It flipped.
Fantastic. All right. So what you're going to need for this project, all right, is the glitter vinyl. The HTV Siser glitter vinyl is definitely the best by far for the type of vinyl. I do love their brand. No affiliate link there, but I do love it. We're going to sub on this. And why are we talking about this? Well, I was watching Lindsay from Lenny Penny, and she was taking these little tiny squares of glitter and putting them into an embroidered design. I was watching her stitch that out, and I'm thinking, I didn't want to sit there and cut out 80,000 pieces of glitter vinyl. She can, absolutely. I'm like, I'm a sub girl. And sub girls, we sub our stuff, okay? We make ours into fun patterns. Here's another thing. If you hear that wind, I apologize. Here's another thing you can do. You know the whole viral baby onesie mama shirts that everybody's talking about. Did you know you could take a picture of that onesie, especially if there's a pattern all over it? Take a picture of it, sub it on other fabrics so that they can still keep the onesie for maybe it being passed down. You can offer that as a solution because it's still kind of the onesie, but it's the picture of the onesie. Maybe you're going someplace fancy and you want to take a picture of your shirt and you want to have matching stuff. You want to put it on something else. You can definitely do that. Take a picture of it, sub it on fabric. Now, I am going to flip the camera over to this because this is definitely crucial what I'm about to tell you. I'm about to break all the laws that you're not supposed to do in sublimation, and that is we're not going to use butcher paper on the bottom for the glitter vinyl. Let me explain why. Okay, so what I like to do, even though this is covered with the Teflon, I like to have what I call a rogue Teflon sheet. Okay, why is that? Because you're going to take your glitter vinyl, you're going to peel off the transfer top. I was going to say back, but it's not. It's really on the top. You're going to peel that off. Why am I peeling this off? The reason you're peeling it off, I'll let it warm up so it doesn't cool or curl. The reason you're doing it on there is because it's going to have the sticky backing that is there activate once the heat is. So if you put it on butcher paper, right, you're now going to have paper on the back of that, and we don't want that. So anytime you're going to want to sub on glitter, you want to put it on a Teflon sheet. Once we are done with this subbing, we're going to let it cool, but we still have to make some sort of a burrito, if you will. So you have your Teflon sheet, you have your glitter HTV. I got some really cool random prints. And we're going to sub out and we're also going to stitch out 2 different types of fabric because I really feel as if you need to see what they look like. We are going to sub a couple different types of fabric, but again, it's one of those things, they all have their place, they all have their look. Okay, so when you're subbing on glitter, you can lay this right down. So you have your Teflon sheet, you have your glitter vinyl HTV, you have your transfer, and now we're going to go get that butcher paper because, you know, we still got to protect investments around here. I can't get to my paper. My machine's in the way. Okay, so you're still going to press this the same way you press everything else for sublimation, which is around 395 for 65 seconds. You're going to drop it like it's hot because we all know it is. Forget about it. Don't play with it. Don't do anything to it. Okay, while that's doing its thing, let's talk about, in this camera right here, let's talk about some other fabrics and why you can use them. So Marvin has his velvety soft fancy towels, as I call them. You also have the Minky fabric and you have the felt. Now I want you to kind of run this through your head for a second. So the Minky fabric and the towel can give you that faux chenille look. The towel more so with the faux chenille look. This is going to give you a texture. And remember, because this is so soft, it's going to have a different look to the design. And I want to show you how designs will travel differently or press differently. I should say press differently on different fabrics and the effect you're going to get. If you're going to do the craft felt, you could do those varsity letters. So now you can custom color them without buying 87,000 colors of felt. You can literally print them off in the color that you need. Okay. Now, why this is important right now is I'm going to peel this back. I'm going to check under the hood. Holy heavens, it's hot. Okay. So it subbed. I mean, can you see that? I'm going to push it to the camera because she's really pretty. Jody, let me know.
It's very pretty.
See that? Like, can you see the sparkle on the screen? I don't know. I can't tell. I can't. Can anybody see that?
Yes, yes, you can see the sparkle. It's very pretty.
Okay. So let me go turn you up, Jody, because I can barely hear you. So hold on. Hold, please. I need to be able to hear the Jody when she's yelling at me. Okay. So here's the thing about doing it on the Teflon sheet. You got to let it completely cool. So you cannot just go ripping this thing off or you're going to end up with a hot mess. So what I like to do is take it and slide it over to a cool surface. Forget about it. Okay, we're going to work on the other stuff. Now, this is where you're going to need your burrito. And this is why right here. Do you see this? Do you see this? This is off gas from a different project because I deliberately sometimes do this so that I can show you. Okay. This is a repeat project. This is almost like having heartburn that repeats after a really good meal. Well, it's going to repeat. That's what just happened there. You're welcome. Okay. So that's why we protect our investment. Yes. You're like, Nikki, you seriously did that? For what purpose? To show. I will do this to show you. Okay. So we're going to put your butcher paper on the bottom. Protecting the investment. Now, this is where it all comes into play when we are subbing our fabrics. I am going to cut. I'm going to cut a towel. Sacrilegious. I know, but in order for this to work in this demonstration, we need to cut the towel. So we're going to cut the towel. Now, yes, you can embroider on this towel. You can make pretty designs on this towel. You can use embroidery and sublimation on the towel. But for this purpose, we're going to do a little swatch. I'm going to press multiple times. And just because I need you to see how design matters, pattern matters, that kind of thing, and color matters, even on textured fabrics. So I am cutting up one of the Minky soft baby blankets from Marvin. So I've cut up one of his towels, and now I'm going to cut up one of his blankets. Why? Because you can use them. You don't need, again, like I said, don't go spending a ton of money on something when you can create it yourself. Right now, I'm just trimming up the pieces. Okay. So right now we have on this press, we have the towel, Minky fabric, and I'm going to grab, where'd it go? The craft felt. Now, the craft felt that I get it on the bolt. Yes, can you use the craft sheets? You can, but I like the thicker felt. This is great for testing. If you want something really cheap and easy to test on, you can go get the 50/50 poly cotton blend fabric at Walmart, and it will give you what that vintage vibe looks like, right? Then you can go in and you can actually do, and I'm going to go to the Walmart, get some more of that fabric because I want to show you how you can test a 50/50 with blue, with pink, with purple, and what it would look like. That's the Sass for this coming Sunday. We're going to talk all about color. So for this felt is thicker. All right. So we're going to do that. So these are 3 different types of fabric. Perfect. Okay. Now, the glitter HTV is going to sit here. It's going to cool, and then I'm going to pull that off. But for this, we need to get this all going. Now, I'm going to do the same pattern on all 3. The reason, again, is because texture is going to matter in this conversation, especially with that Minky type fabric. The Minky type fabric, while yes, it's going to try to dye down as much of those fibers, those really soft, fluffy fibers, you're still going to end up with some white in there. And I want to show you that because that can mean a lot. That can mean a difference in what you put it on. All right. Butcher pepper. Now for this tutorial, and only this tutorial, I will be reusing my butcher paper because it's currently there. So please note that I do change out my butcher paper after every project because, again, I don't want repeat projects on my new project. But because we're doing this in the name of science, I'm going to reuse my butcher paper. My disclaimers. Okay. So now that's getting all set. Now my machine is already set back here. For this to rock and roll, I'm going to do a mama design. You will hear it stitch out, but you know what? That's all a part of doing things. Let's see. Learning from mistakes is unfortunately a good way to learn. Yes, absolutely. I love matching stuff. So for an example, if you've got pajama bottoms, I'm going to flip this over real quick. Let's say you have pajama bottoms and you want to have the same plaid or polka dot or whatever that are in the pajama bottoms in those applique shirts. Now you can go get a long sleeve shirt, a Gildan, a jersey, long sleeve shirt, put an applique on it, t-shirt even, and it will match to the pants. It's going to be the same pattern. It's going to be almost the same color. I will tell you, there will be a color, a variant in color. And the only reason is because of the different types of processes it uses when it's coloring the fabric. One is more of a dyed, one versus a sublimation. There is some sort of change in that color, but it's gonna be pretty darn close. Okay, so let's, I just pulled off this. Let's talk about this. That is gorgeous, okay? That is absolutely stunning. Can you imagine? We're going to stitch this one inside that mama design that I'm doing. So half of it will be out of the light glitter. The other half will be out of this. Can you imagine? Look at that pattern. I mean, my goodness. So can you imagine this stitched ever so beautifully? You can't get that on just on the fly. Okay. Unless you're sublimating. And what I mean by that is, you got that 9 o'clock call. You forgot that you were supposed to do this. And you're like, crap, now what am I supposed to do? I didn't go get fabric. You could print your own. I love that I could print my own fabric. Okay. So this doesn't matter the direction you put it in. Okay. This is the towel. It does not matter the direction you put it in. It's going to look great. Now I'll show you the felt. Again, the felt doesn't matter what the direction, because there is no pill, I think is the way you say it. Pill, you know what I mean. Okay, there is none of that on this felt. And see, it doesn't bleed through on those. Okay, perfect. Minky fabric. Okay, so while the Minky fabric looks very flat right now, I'm going to shake her. Okay, see what happens? This is why it matters. I know you can see it now goes almost fuzzy, right? So it now has a very fuzzy look to this. I got to move right or left. I don't know. Okay. So you see how fuzzy that is? And now you can't see the details as you can on the towel or on the felt. You see the difference in that? And I will make sure that I take pictures for you guys, because this is important. If you're going to do it on the Minky style fabric, you're going to lose the detail. And if you want the detail of the fabric, I wouldn't do it on the Minky fabric. But if you want the Minky fabric because you want to just show big dots, or you want to just change the color and you want it nice and fuzzy, solid color, you didn't have chartreuse in your color wheel of fabric, you know, whatever it is, you didn't have that. I wouldn't even do a plaid on this one because, again, of the fuzzy nature of this, I would be hesitant on this style plaid. I might do a big chunkier plaid versus the really tiny plaid. So pattern matters. All right. So keep that in mind when you're doing this, because there's the 3. Hold on. Can you see that good in the camera, Jody? I don't even know.
Yes, you can. And it's so pretty.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Even the Minky one being slightly fuzzed out, it still looks absolutely gorgeous. The color, the purple, is like, I'm just
that purple is purple.
I'm in awe going. And I unmuted and then I remuted because I'm like, hold on, she's still talking, don't interrupt her. But it's just, it's purple.
Right? It is purple. So that's why that's important. Sorry, it's warm in my shop. So that's why it's important to pick your pattern. Now, I did the glitter pattern already. I'm going to do some of this. Again, we're going to do some more pressing because pattern matters. We already have our little stitch for mama. I'm going to cut some more fabric out because I feel like, you know, we need to see that it's different and how rich it looks and whatnot. Did I pick busy patterns? Yes. But I also picked one, and I don't want to do it on that one. Where's my, we'll do it over here. Hold on one second. Hold, please. what I'm going to do is I'm going to press two different, it's the same pattern, just one is bigger than the other. And the reason I'm doing that, and I'll show you what it is, okay? The reason is because I shrunk down this design a little bit smaller. You see how this is bigger? And I want to show you how it looks. I'm going to show you how it looks even on the Minky fabric. I have two of these, so we're going to do that. I am going to flip this bad boy over because, again, oh, you know what? I'm just going to keep it. It's scrap. Who cares? All right. So this is the towel material. I'm going to show you what the patterns look like on that. And then I'm going to do the Minky because, again, Minky is a tricky beast. And it can be really, really pretty. But, again, I want to see how that pattern, even when it's shrunk down, looks versus maybe doing a bigger pattern. So let's get that in there. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay, we got that. And then I got to stop leaving my scissors everywhere. That's what I got to do. And then we're going to stitch it out. Now, while we've been talking, or I should say while I've been talking, the glitter HTV is completely cooled. So again, this is the pattern. We've got a smaller pattern and a bigger pattern. This is the towel. We know his towels sub gorgeous. Even the Minky fabric that the baby blankets are out of still sub beautifully. Absolutely gorgeous. But again, it's a pattern thing. It's a texture thing. Okay. So did I put that? Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. I thought about it something for a second here. I gave two thoughts all of a sudden. I'm like, wow, that's really bulky right there. Okay. You're like, you can't believe you just did that. Well, I do. You have no idea how many times I've opened up this press going, crap, did I just do that? Okay, so you have that. Let's throw this away. Let's throw this away. We're going to set this aside. This gets thrown away. Good. We like to clean up our messes too as we go. All right. So the thing is, you really want to make sure that this, when this comes off, I got Mickey fabric all over it. I will put it over here as soon as this is done. I'll show you how to do it because the camera's right there. Why it's important to let it cool, because there is that adhesive glue on the back of your HTV. All right. And so when you go to put it down here, you're going to want to make sure that it's going to do what it needs to do. Now, I am going to go grab a t-shirt to put it on. I am not going to sit here and trim all of it up. Please know I'm not trimming it up. I did not put my tack down stitch in there. I just wanted to show you what it looked like stitch. This is just one of those quick designs, if you will. So let's flip this while we're waiting for the things. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to float this on top. We're just putting this on for just fabric purposes. There's going to be no rhyme or reason. It's not going to be trimmed. Don't come at me. This was just to show you what it would look like with it around it. Okay. And you know what? I'm an idiot. Did anybody realize what I did? Can we just do a take two? Did anybody realize what I did? Did it sub? It subbed. But y'all realize that I didn't flip the paper upside down? Oh, this is going to be fun. And you're like, Nikki, you just moved it. Yes, I know. I know I moved it. And you're going to be like, holy good Lord. Yep, I know. It's okay. We got it. No big deal. I got this. This is what comes with years of practice. We'll see how well I did. Can't believe I did that. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I got so distracted. I can't believe I did that. Okay. This one's for the reels. Literally.
That's okay, because I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice.
Right? It's all right. You know what? It happens. It absolutely happens. And can you save a project? This is a good question. Can you save a project if you've done this? Sometimes, yes, you can. You absolutely can. How do you save that project? Well, you don't do what I just did, and that's just flip it upside down. there's actually a way you can save a project without anything shifting. First of all, you make sure everything's taped down. And I might have to show you on that an advanced thing. Have I done it? Yes, I have saved a project when I haven't peeled the paper off. I have saved projects when I've screwed things up. So we're going to just do this real quick. Thank goodness I'll clean my heat plant later. See, not too terrible. Just a little bit. I did not line this up perfectly, as you saw, but you know what? It's still going to work. It's still going to do its thing. Okay, so at the end of the day, we got this. So as you can see, the smaller pattern on this works just fine, and so does the large pattern. Now on the Minky, while yes, it is flat right now because it was pressed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shake it out so that it loosens all the fibers. I will tell you that this little one, I don't know if y'all can see it close up, okay? Whether or not the pattern works bigger or smaller, personally, I like the smaller one. While the bigger one does work, I just feel like the details, you could see the details a little bit easier on this than you can on this one. Let me go look at this real quick. Because I want to know. I mean, you're gonna wash this. This is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be thrown in because nobody ever reads the instructions and nobody ever washes the way you're supposed to, and that's inside out. Like nobody ever does that, right? So this is what it's gonna do. It's gonna be inside your dryer, and it's gonna do all these things, and you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna see what it looks like. That's what it's gonna look like after it's been in the dryer against your jeans that you know you threw in there together, because that's what we do. Okay, so now this one. Again, you know what your towels look like, but I'm going to really, okay? And that's what it's going to look like. Your pattern is still gorgeous. You don't see the white underneath, whereas this one kind of goes almost grayish because of the white underneath, because it does have that furry fuzz look. Okay. Now that I've messed that up, I do want to make sure I cleaned off my platen a little bit here. I saw a mark. Okay. Yes, you just watched me do that. Okay. This guy, he's already cooled off. I am going to roll it back. Okay. I'm going to lay it on my table where it's nice and cool. Again, because once you take it off your Teflon sheet, you want it to stiffen back up again so that you can embroider on it. So now that it's stiffened back up, we're going to go over to the machine here. I'm going to try to flip my cameras because it'll be a little bit easier. Okay. So if I ever figure out my design, maybe just sub it. You have to sub it on either regular fabric, like your polyester fabric t-shirt. You can get the Gildan Brands white t-shirt as long as it has high poly content. Can you do it on your vintage vibe ones? Absolutely, you can. You could do it on the glitter HTV. Yep, you could do it on there. Letty, when you were doing your designing, I will tell you this. I was letting you work through the process before I made the suggestion because I knew what you were going to be doing, but I was going to wait and let you get through the process first because you were working on making this grand design. So I was just waiting. I'll be a patient teacher. Okay. So yes, you can put it on as long as it's white. Now, if you decide to use a gray fabric, remember the gray is going to change the way the color looks. If you put on a pink, light pink fabric, light baby blue fabric, anything that you put it on that's 100% polyester in the pastel range is going to play off your colors unless it's black. Then it's not going to. Even red could have some funkiness to it. Blues, again, it all plays off that. If you put a blue on a yellow shirt, you're going to end up with green. Not totally green. You will end up with just some green hues to it. It's not going to go changing it completely green. All right. I don't want you to think that. All right. So we're over here at the machine and I do have a stop put into it. So we're going to run it. I know this, Jody, you're going to have to let me know. I am going to lay this down first. I'm not trimming this. I'm not doing all that. I'm just showing you what it looks like. Okay, so we have our stop put in. So right now what it's doing is it's just going to do the front part of the word mama. because I just want to show you the two different contrasts with the fabric that we did. I want to show you the purple, and then I want to show you with the I'm like, why did it stop? Sorry, my brain was just like, what? Then what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to use the purple fabric here, and then you get to see what it looks like with the two different types of fabric. Now, this does say that it'll take 11 minutes. It'll stop between the first two, which is fine. So again, you can use just about any fabric as long as it's 100% polyester. Yes, you can sub it. Then you could create all of the things with your sublimation. Listen, here's why I tell you this. You've got places like Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby getting into the sublimation game. So why don't we get into the game as well by just going and buying white fabric, 100% polyester fabric, satin fabric. As long as you can buy satin fabric, you can go buy polyester fabric, felt, you're going to go create your own patterns, and then you're not going to go buy their pattern pieces. I'm just saying, it's a win, and it's a way for us little guys to get a win. I'm thinking about getting my embroidery machine next week. Yes, Laura, get your embroidery machine. It is so much fun. So what else can you can do this. It doesn't just have to be for shirts. It could be anything really. I just like to combine two of my loves, which are sublimation and embroidery. And this, I will tell you, and this is just me being very raw, I don't normally get on the live and show you guys me doing embroidery. This is not my strong suit to teach it. I'm never going to teach embroidery. You know what? Scratch that. I can't say I'll never teach embroidery. And currently, I'm not doing that. I have people for that. So I wish you guys could see this. I tried getting my camera to get in a little bit closer. It was just too bright, and I can't figure out how to shut the light off on my machine. But I will pull it off after it's done, just so you can see it. I'll pull all of the HTV away because it will kind of just pull away. It's not going to be neat. If it were a design I was actually going to do, I would have done my tack down stitches, done that, my applique stitches, got that all done. Then I would have peeled away my fabric, just like you would do an applique. I would have done that on this, but that wasn't the point of this tutorial because I didn't care. Pillow wraps. Yep, that's a great idea as well. Listen, you can sublimate on ribbon. You can add ribbon. Do you guys remember way back when, for all those who have been in embroidery longer than a hot minute, when I first started embroidery many moons ago, do you guys remember the Christmas trees with all the ribbon that you had to meticulously go in and you had to lay it all in there? And it was all different types of ribbon. It was grosgrain ribbon. It was rickrack. It was all of the things. It was even sequins that you would just loop, and then it would be the different tiers of the tree. Tell me somebody remembers those trees. I was looking back in my pictures and I saw that. And I remember how many of those shirts I did on a flatbed machine. Single needle, by the way. And I did a ton of them. I remember they were just the hottest shirt for little kids, little girls. So yes, and this is important too. While I'm showing you this, this is a large pattern, and I intentionally did a little bit larger of a pattern. That's why you want to shrink your pattern down. So for an example, Letty's making her own fabric, right? She's going to make her own fabric. What she's going to do is she's going to create that as a PNG. She's going to shrink, bring it into her software, her embroidery software, and shrink it down and figure out what size that image needs to be in order to fit in her word. So she's doing a word, and then she's going to put fabric behind it. All right. So what she's got to do is once she creates that pattern, she's going to shrink it down to fit within that word. Does that make sense, Letty? I hope so. If not, I'll let you know on some other day. But yes, bring it in as your PNG as if you were going to digitize it, shrink it down, figure out what size that image needs to be, and then print that size. You want to give yourself a little bit of grace on either side, just in case if things shift, because that happens. But then you can be able to see if your pattern's too busy, not busy enough, needs to add more stuff, whatever it may be. I love making sub patches. So I just got into the sub patch game, and I actually just did my first big, working on my first big patch job. And I have to tell you, I went through 65 revisions. That was fun. That's been really fun because what I started with, and they okayed and they said yes, all of a sudden they came back with, yeah, no, we decided to change our minds. And as a graphics designer, that is frustrating, but I love my digitizers so much because I'm not still really strong in this program in digitizing. I love my digitizers so much that I did not let them know of all the changes until the final came back because I didn't want to keep changing it over and over again. Oh, can you do this? What about this? I knew as a designer what they could do, and having some working knowledge of embroidery design, having some working knowledge of an embroidery design or digitizing it, I knew where we could go with it. There were still some things I needed to tweak about it, but that was okay as well. So I didn't want to have them do all 65. Now, I'm going to bring this up to the, I don't know if y'all can see that. We're going to see if I can't rip it first. Hold on. There we go.
That was pretty.
Hold on. I'm ripping it out because HTV ripped. Huh?
So I don't want to wait. That was cute.
No. I'm ripping off the edges that didn't get embroidered. Hold on. Don't worry. I got you. The nice thing about HTV is that it rips really well and you really don't have to trim it because you end up with that. Do you see that? Now it sparkles.
Move it towards you just a little bit.
What do I got to do?
There you go. Oh,
right
I was having you move it towards you just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
That is.
You know what? Let me flip the camera. Hold on. It's going to be easier for me to hold it on this camera, I think, because of the angle. So let's talk about this before I get the rest of the design on. Let me get the camera up and rolling. There we go. Okay. So the pattern on this was the pattern. All right. That's a big, busy pattern. I should have shrunk it down more if I really wanted it to be in there a little bit smaller. I could have shrunk this down more, but can you go and hit this with heat after? You absolutely can. You can go in after it's all said and done, hit it with your heat press. But when you're hitting it with your heat press to activate the HTV, you only have to do it at 300. Okay, so just quick tap at 300. It's not going to do anything, and you can seal the deal in there so that it's now attached. Now, could you have done this prior? You could have, but if you go to, let me rephrase that. Hold on, rewind. If you go and try to do it ahead of time, you can't peel it off. Okay, so you really want to do this afterwards. I need to make sure I fixed my sentence. Okay, so heat press it after you have subbed it and you've attached it with your embroidery. I'm sorry, I misspoke there. I got ahead of myself. All right, let me throw this back on. So again, you can hit it with heat, a light iron, 300 degrees. Quick tap and it'll activate the glue of the HTV so that it sticks to the shirt, and now it's not going to come off. It's not going to pull away from the stitches, and you absolutely want to do that so that it adheres. So let's run that through before I confuse anybody else. Press your glitter or your material. You're going to want to stitch it, at least for the glitter HTV, you're going to want to stitch it out. Pull out all the pieces, trim it up, make it pretty. After it's done completely and being embroidered, lower your heat press down to 300 and give it a quick tap. Cover it with a piece of butcher paper, okay, because it still has ink on that glitter. All right, cover it with a piece of butcher paper and then hit it with some 300 heat, just a couple seconds, like 10 seconds, enough to activate the glue that's on the back of the HTV. I hope I explained that a little bit better. So I can sub a pattern on Marvin's towel and use it as an applique. Yes, 100% you can. And on his baby blankets, and on his velvet, the snuggly soft pillowcases, or maybe you better yet, you screwed up your pillowcase. It all happens. I do it frequently. Anytime you screw up a 100% polyester shirt, blanket, pillowcase, doesn't matter. Keep it, because you can use that in applique if you're in embroidery. So now it has applique type fabric for you. Can you add his faux linen from his faux linen pillows? Absolutely you can. You could do his canvas pillowcases. Any of this stuff from Marvin could actually be reused, recycled into embroidery. I hope that made sense. Okay, making sure everything's all.
Yes, it made very much sense.
Good, good, good. Okay, so now I'm going to put this guy, which is our other piece of the mama. You know what? Do I want to go that way? I don't know. How big is this really? Let me see. Oh, we're going to be kind of close. Well, we're going to live dangerously. We're living on the edge. We'll see how well I do. Okay. So now I'm going to start it. 6 more minutes, and then this one will be done. Now, this one I would have to have trimmed up. The HTV, I didn't have to because I could pull it apart. Now, with your other fabrics, you're definitely going to want to make sure you do it the same way you do your applique stuff, and you're going to want to stitch it down. With HTV, you can do it after the fact. That always makes me think that it's about to do something. Yup, you could use a tree skirt as well. Yup, Randy has her those white tree skirts. Any fabric you've messed up in sublimation, you can absolutely use for any of your applique stuff. See, and we're wondering what we're going to do with those t-shirts, right? I was working on a project, another project that you can work on, and most people don't know is the deployment pillows. I was talking with Beverly and the deployment pillows, and you're going to go, Nikki, what's a deployment pillow? What it is it's a full length picture of someone in service. Well, you take your fabric, your polyester fabric, you make sure you remove the background of the person standing there. Okay. Then you go and you sub it on your fabric, put right sides together. You only have to sub one side of it. You take your fabric, right sides together, and then just sew around the person, stuff it, and sew the bottom. And now you have the deployment pillows that are seen all over the Etsy. I actually am working on 3 different embroidery designs that I'm going to be putting in the group. Well, they're for Valentine's Day, and one is for Mardi Gras. It was a request from Tori to have me do it, and I said, sure, I'll do it, and that's what we're doing. So, again, the deployment pillows with the person on it, you can definitely do it. You can make fat heads, if you will. Put your pet on fabric, and then all you got to do is give it about 1/4 to 1/2 inch around. I try to do about 1/2 inch around the person. So you're going to end up with a white offset around them, but that's because you have seam allowance and you want it to look right. You're not going to want to sew it right up against the person. All right. You're definitely going to want to do it differently. The one request from me is a pic of a mom and dad for, oh, that's awesome. See, we'll work on that. And you can get background removers. You can actually bring it into Canva and they'll remove your background. You can remove the background in Photoshop. There's background remover. Whatever you use to remove your background out of pictures, you absolutely can do that. And they're a great gift idea and something that us subbers can do. And if you can work a sewing machine to sew a straight stitch and a seam across the bottom, girl, I gotcha. What else can we use in our embroidery world? You could do keychains. So you can, maybe you've got a school that's got 8 trillion colors, and maybe you're that flatbed machine person. Let's talk about the flatbed machines. You don't have a commercial machine. And people often ask me, is this a commercial machine? Yes, this is a commercial machine. It's just one of the smaller units of the commercial machine brand, but it is a commercial machine. So the flatbed machine is a single needle. Okay, a single needle is considered a home machine. It's a flatbed machine, typically like a Singer, a Brother, the ones that sit on the table like your sewing machine. Okay, so those you can do school keychains. Maybe they've got 1 trillion colors. You can go get your white twill from the Nerds, and then you can sublimate their logo, their everything. You don't have to add all these stitches, and then you can just stitch the border and add a hole for a keychain. Done. Done. Call it a day. You can even do it out of glitter. Like you can put it on the fabric and then make your own keychain with glitter. Make it sparkle. Yeah. So think of all the things that you can now do that's in your embroidery world that you might want to cut out about 1 billion stitches because you just don't have time for that, right? But you want to add it, so you're going to create sub and embroidery all in one conversation. I love how this is stitching out. I got to tell you, I love me the glitter. I just feel like the glitter needs to be bam. You know, because as much as I used to love the metallic thread. I used to call it glitter thread, by the way, okay, until I got promptly corrected. But it's the metallic thread. I loved it. It broke all the time, but I loved it because I wanted the sparkle. I wasn't into sublimation yet. Now I can get the sparkle and a whole lot more of it. And I don't have to worry about thread breaks and fun stuff, because I got to tell you, that thread still is a pain to this day. Even though I'm, you know, a few years away from it, it's still a pain. We're almost done. It's just finishing up the last part of the A. Like I said, I did not trim this. This is just really just a tutorial for you to see how you can add it to your fabric. And I can tell you right now, I can hear the clocks ticking in Ohio right now, where Miss Letty is, about all the stuff that she can now go sub on and embroider all the same time. Like, her brain is exploded. I can hear it all the way from here. And that's it. All right, so I will do a little bit of trim work, not too much, just because I want the side by side. So it will not be a ton of trim work on this. It's not something I would have, and I just keep giving that disclaimer because people just are going to be like, Nikki, that is a horrible apple. Yeah, I know. But if you wanted to have this rugged looking, you know, the grunge look, sure can. Oh, I just cut the shirt. Fantastic. So if you wanted to do like a grungy edge to it, you absolutely can. Then you wouldn't have to cut it prior. So that's a thing. I didn't realize it was, but it is. Okay. I'm going to flip the camera over. All right. Again, don't mind the fact that I cut the shirt, but you can at least see. Got that. All right. You can at least see how this pattern looks inside. All right. This looks absolutely gorgeous. It's still really soft. This is the towel from Marvin. Okay. And it's stitched beautifully along the edge. Of course, you will applique it properly. All right. And then it looks absolutely gorgeous. So this is a great way to do the things. Now, this is 100% poly, or this is 100% cotton. So I wouldn't be able to use this for my sublimation, but I can use things that I can sublimate on there. So there you go. Honestly, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. Take the complicated stuff out of it. You can sub on just about any fabric. You can put it in just about any one of your embroidery projects, maybe to cut down on your stitch count, maybe for those who are home users and you don't want to be changing your thread 18 trillion times. That's where this is a win for you. It gives you some different looks and it allows for you to play with color and shading and the things. It also stops you maybe from those 800 trips to the fabric store. Don't get me wrong. I love cotton fabric. I absolutely do. And I know there's going to be people out there that are going to be like, Nikki, nope, I need to buy the cotton fabric. It needs to be what it is. And that is fantastic. But for my applique embroidered stuff, I don't mind using polyester fabric. I don't mind using all of the different types of fabric that I talked about today, or using the sublimation on my HTV glitter. Now, can you sub on any other color glitter? You absolutely can. The rules still apply and what it's going to look like when it comes to color. So if you wanted to sub on a light pink, you absolutely can. If you want to sub on a silver, you absolutely can. Do you want to sub on black? You absolutely cannot. Okay? We're just going to stop that right there. You cannot sub on black. Well, you can technically sub on black, but you're never going to see it really. There's no point in it. All right? So again, it allows for you to have the sparkle and allows for some depth and dynamic stuff for your embroidery without having all the stitches. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching me. Sorry I fumbled through a little bit of it, but that's okay. It has been fun. I'm glad I got to show you something to those of you in the embroidery world who also are doing sublimation just like me. And until next time, I'll see y'all real soon. You know where, on the flip side.